Welcome to the Filipino community of Guam's political forum. It is my honor to introduce you to your candidates for governor. But before we begin the introduction of candidates, we do regret to inform you that two candidates will not be able to join us this evening because they were called into legislative session. They are Senator Dennis Rodriguez and Senator Frank Uggan, Jr. Nonetheless, of course, the show must go on, and we are happy to introduce 3 out of the 5 candidates for governor this evening. To begin, we have with us tonight former Governor Carl Gutierrez. Carl Gutierrez was born October 15, 1941, less than 2 months before the Japanese occupation of Guam. He grew up during the war and experienced the hardships of life. He is one of 11 children of Tomas Titano Gutierrez and Rita Benavente Toves Cruz, and grew up in Agana Heights. In 1963, he met and married Geraldine Jerry Chance Torres, also from Agana Heights. Together, they have 3 children, Carla, Tommy, Hannah, and 4 grandchildren, Lily, Livia, Seth, and Liam. Gutierrez was a 2-term governor of Guam from 1995 to 2003, a senator of the Guam legislature for 9 terms, and speaker for 2 terms, and chair of the Ways and Means Committee for 3 terms. As speaker, Gutierrez was given a proclamation by the Guam Chamber of Commerce as the most pro-business legislature in the history of Guam, primarily due to the removal of the GRT for wholesalers. He was president of the first federally authorized constitutional convention in 1977 and is a self-made businessman and has been a servant of the people of Guam for over 45 years. He is a veteran of the United States Air Force and a proud Chamorro. As the most tried and tested governor of Guam, he steered us through times of economic turmoil, natural disasters, and almost every kind of crisis imaginable. Carl T.C. Gutierrez is a true Magalahi, and the one who understands that what may seem like a small problem to others is really a huge obstacle to those in need. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage former Governor Carl Gutierrez.
Mga Pinoy, oy, 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 mga Pinoy, oy, 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 oy. Gutierrez, Rodario, Sanchenko, tunay na leader ko, na pinaasahan mo, may pangako sa'yo. Kapag sila'y binoto, ginawa na ang buhay mo, ay umat ng people, patasan ng Guam, ay si Gutierrez, Rodario. May pusong Pinoy ko, kapag tinating lagi Gutierrez, Rodario. May umat ng people, patasan ng Guam, ay si Gutierrez, Rodario. May pusong Pinoy ko, kapag tinating lagi Gutierrez, Rodario.
Thank you, former Governor. The next candidate for governor is Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio. Ray Tenorio has been a public servant for more than half his life, 15 years as a Guam police officer, 4-term senator, and lieutenant governor of Guam. Ray is also a husband, father, and grandfather. Much like many Filipinos on Guam, Ray was not born here. He was born stateside in less than stellar conditions. Foster care, abuse, neglect made up his childhood. He eventually reunited with his mom, Helen, his new father, Romeo Tenorio, and Guam became his home. Wanting to give back to the island and propelled by his own determination, Ray accomplished virtually every goal he set for himself, including becoming a cop, earning both his bachelor's and master's degrees, and serving as both senator and lieutenant governor. Ray continues to work tirelessly to champion policies and public safety initiatives. Crime prevention through education, which was his senatorial platform, continues to be his philosophy. An educated child is less likely to engage in drugs and crime and will eventually become an educated adult who will work hard toward achieving success. It's our job as leaders to provide them with these opportunities. That's why Ray wants to give high school graduates a free college education. Ray sees education as the key to growing the economy, reducing our prison population, and allowing residents to pull themselves out of poverty. Ray Tenorio's story is moving, but it is his continued desire to serve, to grow as a leader, and his vision for Guam's future that is most inspiring. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio.
We are Guam, we are Guam, we are Guam, an island full of pride. We are strong, we are one, our future's looking bright. Ray and Tony leading the way, they're working harder every day. They're the best for Guam, Tenorio and
And now the third candidate for governor. Third candidate for governor is former Senator Leon Guerrero. Leon Guerrero was born and raised in Sinahaña to Eugenia Aflagui Leon Guerrero and the late Jesus S. Leon Guerrero. She is the youngest of 3 children. Her older brothers are Jesse and the late Tony Leon Guerrero. Her dad worked 2 jobs to support his growing family. In 1972, he began the Bank of Guam with 13 employees working out of a modular building. After graduating high school on Guam, Lou worked her way through nursing school as a cashier at a fried chicken restaurant in California. She eventually earned a bachelor's degree in nursing and later a master's degree in public health from UCLA. Returning to Guam in 1980, Lou worked as a nurse at GMH and later at FHP as its operations director, overseeing healthcare delivery. Lou's interest in public policy led her to the Guam legislature, where she championed improving health care and authored legislation banning smoking in bars and restaurants on Guam. With the passing of her brother Tony in 2005, Lou took over management of the Bank of Guam and grew it to the $2 billion enterprise it is today. In 2017, she announced her candidacy to become Guam's first female governor. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage former Senator Leon Guerrero.
Sa hinaharap sa pamumuhang maaasahan. Ligtas at mangat na buhay sa isla para sa iyo at sa iyong pamilya. Ako ang gagawa, Josh, number 1 natin ngayon. Sikap at tiyaga ang panulan para sa kinabukasan. Ako ang gagawa, Josh, Leon Guerrero, Tenorio, mga tapat na figura at maaasahan. Ako ang kanyang Josh.
Ladies and gentlemen, how about one more round of applause for each of your candidates for governor? We've got some excitement in this room. And now it is my pleasure to introduce someone I know very well. Of course, none other than my husband and the president of the Filipino community of Guam. The first president in the FCG's 64-year history who was born and raised on Guam, and the youngest elected president. Ladies and gentlemen, my husband, Mr. Norman Analista.
Ako ay Pilipino, ang dugo'y maharlika. Likas sa aking puso at hikain kay kanda. Sa Pilipinas na aking bayan, lantay na perlas ng silanganan. Wari na dito ng kayamanan ng may kapal. Ika'y sa'king talino sa mabuti lang laan. Sa aking katutubo ang maging mapagmahal. Ako ay Pilipino. Ako ay Pilipino. Isang bansa, isang diwa ang minimithi ko. Sa bayan ko't Mandila,
Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Handa na ba kayo? Oh yes. I know that there is a lot of excitement and a lot of spirit in the air, but I'm also very confident that everybody will be at their best behavior and will observe the highest level of decorum. But just in case, I hired security tonight. They look very handsome, don't they? Yeah. Gentlemen, thank you. And as you notice, there's an array of colors, and I happen to be wearing red tonight. But for the record, as I had stated in previous coverage prior to today's forum, that the Filipino community of Guam would not be making any endorsements for any of the candidates, because when we founded the organization in the 1950s, our objectives were to preserve camaraderie and to give back to the island community. And it was never our intention to be active in the political affairs of the island. And secondly, I also believe that our members have the right to decide for themselves, as many of them are Republicans and Democrats, and of course, do not have any party affiliations. So I want to respect their right to decide which candidate is the best choice for the island. So having said that, the objective of tonight's forum is to learn more about our candidates and where they stand on the issues and how they will attempt to solve our island's issues. So ladies and gentlemen, I needed to get that out of the way and so that everybody understands what our objective and mission is here tonight. Now, we are going to go through a standard format, which I'm going to briefly describe. And if you've seen some of the forums that have taken place in the past, it'll be very similar. So we will have each of the candidates deliver their opening statements. And of course, we have to make sure that everybody's given equal time. So it's going to be 3 minutes per candidate. And to our candidates in the back, I want to direct your attention to where we are going to be holding up the signs to let you know once a minute has passed, once we're approaching the 30-second mark, and then when it's time to stop. Now, we are going to be asking 8 questions. The 8 questions will be timed as well in terms of the responses. We're looking at 2 minutes per question. So with regard to the order in which is going to be asked, that has also been established in advance. And then we also will start with a small icebreaker, which I think you might just get a kick out of. So that's going to be coming up in just a bit. So for now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite former Governor Carl Gutierrez to deliver his opening remarks.
Salamat, Norm. Magandang gabi sa inyong lahat. Mga kapatid, Ladies and gentlemen, I was born before the war, as you heard my resume read out. Growing up after the Filipinos were brought here, about 23,000 of them after the liberation of Guam, most of those Filipinos were going around the island looking for friends and family because they're lonely. They just don't want to stay at Camp Rojas. And we three individuals came to the house, walking around Aganga Heights. My father was cooking a goat, a kambing. And then they came in, and they were invited by my father. Not only did they stay there and eat the kambing, they stayed with us for 3 years. I remember them vividly. The one that really taught me and raised me was Leovagildo Galart, better known as Bing. He worked at Anderson Air Force Base later, but I was amazed at him. He really just taught me how to draw, taught me math, taught me everything. So I always looked up to these three people. One was very intelligent in the office, the other was a great carpenter, and the other one was just a good kambing barbecuer. But I really got to be raised by these people, so they are a part of my formative years after the war. And so that's what I was trying to tell people when they interviewed me there tonight. What are you trying to endear yourself to the Filipinos? Are you trying to campaign with the? I said, no, I'm part of it. My great-grandfather was born in the Philippines. He came here, and my grandfather was born here because of him, to a Cruz family. So I've been in construction company, Carlton Construction. I had over 300 people in and out. I took care and I sponsored 6 preference, 120 families. Most of them are still here with their families. They stayed downstairs with us in our house. 2 of them became valedictorian at University of Guam, at GW, and they are godchildren. So it's a family thing. It's not like about I don't have to endear myself. I am part of the Filipino community. I tell people that I would never have been elected in 1972 as senator if it hadn't been for the Filipino votes. The Iglesia Ni Cristo Church, the first small one, was built by Carlton Construction because most of my people were Iglesia. Happy hour on the weekends. So ladies and gentlemen, that's who I am in relation to the Filipino community of Guam. Ako ay Filipino, as they said. They tell me, Governor, you know, they're asking me, somebody told me that you shouldn't be running for governor anymore because you're amoy lupa, you're mabaho, you're inutile. I said, hindi. Amoy pinipig, mabango, and Gutierrez Bordallo, kering-keri.
Thank you so much, former Governor Carl Gutierrez. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to hear from Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio.
Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat, mga kababayan. Good evening, everyone. Like many of you, perhaps your parents or grandparents, I came here on a plane in the 1970s. I was poor. My family did struggle. We lived in a wood and tin house. I still remember that scared foster child on a Pan Am 747 plane. I thought of my new life here on Guam and wondered whether or not I'd be okay. During the day at school, I was bullied. And at night and on the weekends, I mopped floors in the restaurants. I removed fish from the Port Authority, boats, and washed cars at Jackson's Car Wash. Tonight, 40 years later, that foster child stands before you, running for the highest office in the land. My story is just like many migrants who have come to Guam. Like so many of you, Guam and its people have been good to me, and I want to give back to the island of Guam. I owe everything to this island and her people. My opponents have told you that our island is collapsing, the people are bad, and that only they can solve Guam's problems. I stand before you with my life as a testament to tell you Guam is good. Where my opponents would tell you that our economy is falling apart, I'll tell you the truth. Tourism numbers are the highest they've ever been. Construction is on the rise and set to boom. Unemployment rate is the lowest it's been since 1992. And household income has risen over 18%. My opponents would tell businesses are hurting. Here's the reality. We've seen more new restaurants, businesses open and expand. New hotels have been built, and more investments in Guam than the 2 decades prior. And while many will tell you that our island's healthcare system is in shambles, I submit to you that new clinics have opened, new life-saving treatments for stroke, heart, and cancer are available. A world-class hospital, the Guam Regional Medical Center, has opened, opening 130 new beds and services. And while some candidates here have ignored that GMH has been shorted $30 million for 4 decades, I will establish a dedicated funding source for GMH once and for all. While politicians will complain about the cost of living and blame others, Tony Ada and I will offer bold new plans to address these issues. We are going to give your children tuition-free college and trade school training so that they can secure higher-paying jobs. We already started. My office secured $1 million in federal funds to send 200 of your children to GCC and Guam Trades Academy. With education, we will pull people out of poverty. Our island has progressed substantially, and our progress is attributed to the people in this room and those who will be listening tonight. My friends, Tony Ada and I have been here by your side from the very beginning, the whole time. There is no other team more capable of building on what we have already achieved together. Mabuhay.
Thank you very much, Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio. And last, certainly not least, our next candidate for governor, former Senator Leon Guerrero.
Thank you, Norman. Magandang gabi sa inyo lahat. Ako po si Leon Guerrero, tumatakbo para maging gobernador ng Guam. Maraming salamat po sa pagkakataon na mag-usap kayo sa gabing ito. Before I begin, I'd like to introduce my Lieutenant Governor, Joshua Tenorio. When Joshua and I announced our candidacy, we wanted to hear the concerns of as many residents of our island as we possibly could. So we embarked on a listening tour that has lasted more than a year. During this time, we have heard from people of all ages and backgrounds. We have heard the voices of minimum wage earners, middle-class families, single-parent families, and business owners. And our listening tour affirmed what we knew in our hearts when we started this journey, that we are an island of thoughtful, courageous people who are well aware of the many problems and challenges our community faces. Problems that are the most challenging we faced in at least a generation or two. Our listening tour also affirmed that the diversity and caring nature of our people is our island's greatest asset, and also the greatest gift that can change our future for the better. If we want to change the politics of the past, we need to hold our leaders to higher standards, standards that embody our values, customs, and beliefs, and put those values into practice every day, treating everyone with responsibility, fairness, and respect. I am here to share my experiences and positions on issues that are of great concern to your membership and indeed to all of us who call Guam home. Filipinos have been integral to the growth and success of our island since early in the last century, and particularly in the aftermath of World War II. Issues of critical importance to you are important to all of us. Addressing H-2 worker and visitor visa issues are not just Filipino issues, they tie directly to the success of our tourism, healthcare, and other industries, and therefore crucial to our plans to strengthen our island's economy. Issues such as public safety, healthcare, and education, and so much more are not concerns exclusively for Filipinos, but also for all the ethnic groups that make our island's melting pot. Josh and I know that with your support,
Madam Liu, I do need to
we
mention.
can and will restore faith in our future, and together we will bring hope and confidence back to all our people. Thank you, si Zeus Masi, and maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much, former Senator Leon Guerrero. Ladies and gentlemen, before we go any further, I would like to take this opportunity to recognize the presence of some important people who are in our audience tonight. Round of applause for Congresswoman Madeline Berdallo. And I'm personally very excited. I want to introduce you to my new boss at the University of Guam, the 11th President of the University of Guam, Dr. Thomas Kreis. I believe this is his first major public event, right, sir? It's an honor to have you here. And of course, welcome to Guam, Miss Patty Kreis as well, his spouse. And I did want to take this opportunity to recognize the presence of the running mates for each of our gubernatorial candidates. So the running mate for former Governor Carl Gutierrez is, of course, Mr. Fred Berdallo, former Chief of Police. And the running mate for Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio is former Senator Tony Ada. Good evening, sir. And the running mate for former Senator Leon Guerrero is Mr. Josh Tenorio. Ladies and gentlemen, before we dive into the serious questions, we want to get to know our candidates just a little bit better. And I'm going to offer them a couple of options, and I want to know what their one and only choice is. Okay, so this is going to be kind of like a lightning round. Former Governor Carl Gutierrez, are you ready? Sir. Pork adobo, or you could sit where you're at. Okay. Pork adobo or chicken adobo?
Pork adobo always, but I'm not going to stop there because by the way, I celebrated my wedding anniversary with Jerry in the Philippines back in 1963. And the first thing we ate there was balut.
Okay.
And wait,
Well,
Dami, you're not going to cut me off.
No.
Yes or no answer. It was balut, right? But when she ate that balut, you know, she said, I love it, but the spolon is still there. You know, I think it's ready for the sabong. So I said, no, but she wants it with Budweiser. So that is what we eat first, right? But now she orders, every time she goes to the Philippines, she orders with my compadre, just get the 15-day-old where there's no espolon there yet. And then she drinks it with the Budweiser, right? I mean, not the Budweiser, the San Miguel Pale Pilsen. And she'll eat 5 of those, right?
I think this is getting a little too exciting.
And tapos na mi, when she finishes 5 balut, matay na mi.
Thank you, Mr. Governor. This is supposed to be the lightning round, so we're supposed to go fast. But, you know, you can expand on this first question since Mr. Governor did that, just in the area of fairness. So, Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio, that same question, pork adobo or chicken adobo?
Pork adobo.
Pork adobo, okay. Former Senator Leon Guerrero, pork adobo or chicken adobo? Pork adobo.
Pork adobo.
Okay. The next question, so Mr. Governor, this is just a one-word answer. Okay.
Sige na.
Okay. Jeepney or tricycad?
Jeepney.
Jeepney.
Jeepney, because my hairdo.
Okay. Mr. Lieutenant Governor, jeepney or tricycad?
Jeepney.
Jeepney. Former Senator Leon Guerrero.
Tricycat.
Tricycad. Okay. Here's the next question. Mr. Former Governor Gutierrez, Mall of Asia or Divisoria?
Of course, Divisoria. I bought this at Divisoria, 180 pesos at 168. I bought that
Oh.
at 168. That's good shopping.
Okay. And Mr. LT, Mall of Asia or Divisoria?
Divisoria.
Divisoria. And of course, former Senator Leon Guerrero.
Divisoria, because you have the opportunity to bargain, and like all women that love to shop, we like to bargain.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Mr. Governor, the next question is basketball or boxing?
Boxing, because I was champion in California.
Ah, okay. Mr. LT, basketball or boxing?
Boxing, because I love Pacquiao and I used to box too.
Oh, okay. And former Senator Lu, basketball or boxing?
Basketball.
Basketball. Okay. And this is the absolute last question. It's going to be a little anticlimactic because it was kind of touched upon, but I'm going to ask the question anyway. So, balot or dinuguan? Okay, so Mr. Governor, balot or dinuguan?
First of all, I chose balut already before.
Okay, yes,
But the diniguan, if I make it myself, I'll eat that.
Okay. And Mr. LT?
Balut, because when I was a cop and like 18 years of age, I got my first balut and I said, whoa, that's good stuff.
All right. And former Senator Leon Guerrero?
Balut.
Balut. All right. I like those answers. You know, I have to say, the one thing I learned about the candidates tonight is that all of them know how to dance. Huh? When they went up on stage, very spirited, and they knew how to dance.